the golden shield of a new Portugal, the story of the 1988 10 Escudos coin. Imagine holding a small golden disc in the palm of your hand. It's only about the size of a U.S. nickel, but slightly thicker, with a warm yellowish glow that catches. The light like late afternoon, sun over the Atlantic. The edges are reeded, the metal is a sturdy nickel-brass alloy, and on one side sits the ancient coat of arms of Portugal, crowned by a sailor's knot. On the other, a delicate flower-like ornament floats above the bold number, 10 and the word Escudos. This is the 1988 Portuguese 10 Escudos coin, a circulating piece from the final chapter of a currency that had served the nation for 90 years. To an American collector or history buff, it might look like just another foreign coin. But look closer, and it becomes a pocket-sized time capsule of a country reinventing itself after dictatorship, revolution, and the hopeful leap into Europe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Old World Coins Vault. Here we bring you the oldest, the rarest, and the most mysterious coins from around the world. Do you want to know which coin is worth millions? Which coin is hiding one of history's biggest secrets? And which coin looks ordinary today, but could make you rich tomorrow? So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's open the Old World Coins Vault. Let's start with the front, the side most people call the obverse. At the center is the Portuguese coat of arms, a white shield bearing 5 smaller blue shields, arranged in a cross, each dotted with 5 silver basants. Around that shield run 7 golden castles. The whole design rests on an armillary sphere, that intricate navigational instrument that once guided Portuguese ships across uncharted oceans. Above the arms sits a simple sailing knot, a quiet nod to the nation's seafaring soul. Circling the edge in clean capital letters are the words, República Portuguesa, followed by the year 1988. No king's head. No dictator's profile. Just the republic and the symbols that had survived centuries of change. Now flip it over. The reverse feels almost modern, almost abstract. A flower-shaped or stained glass style ornament, sometimes described as a cultural embroidery rosette or a geometric cross of leaf-like forms with 17 portholes, sits above the large numeral 10. Below it, the word Escudos curves along the bottom. Tiny letters identify the designer. Batista and the mint, INCM. The whole design is elegant, balanced, and deliberately tactile. You can feel the raised details with your fingertips. That was intentional. The designer was Helder Batista, a Portuguese artist and engraver whose clean, contemporary style defined the last series of Escudo coins. The pieces were struck at the Imprensa Nacional, Casa da Moeda in Lisbon, Portugal's national mint and printing house. The series itself was authorized by a decree law, dated 12th September 1986. Des Escudos was one of a new family of coins, 1, 5, and 10 Escudos in nickel brass, plus higher denominations in cupro nickel that replaced earlier, less successful designs. The answer is written in the politics and economics of the mid-1980s. Portugal had emerged from the Carnation Revolution of 1974, a nearly bloodless uprising that ended decades of authoritarian rule under the Estado Novo. The years that followed were turbulent: decolonization, economic hardship, high inflation. By the early 1980s, the cost of producing some coins even exceeded their face value. A short-lived minimalist series introduced in 1981 had not won public affection. Then, on 1st January 1986, Portugal joined the European Economic Community, the forerunner of today's European Union. The moment was one of optimism. The country was looking outward again, ready to modernize its institutions and its everyday symbols. The new coin series, launched that same year, was part of that confident step forward. It needed to look modern, feel solid, and still carry the deep visual language of Portuguese identity. Helder Batista delivered exactly that. The 1988 issue was no special commemorative. It was a workhorse circulation coin. More than 32 million pieces were struck that year alone, part of a total mintage for the type that eventually exceeded 230 million. Ordinary Portuguese people used them to buy bread, pay bus fares, or leave a tip at a cafe in Lisbon or Porto. In today's money, the 10 Escudos was worth roughly 5 US cents. At the time of the euro changeover, But in 1988, it still bought something real in daily life. The design choices speak volumes. The coat of arms on the front reaches back to the medieval founding of the kingdom and the age of discoveries. The 5 shields recall the legend of the Battle of Urik. The 7 castles evoke the conquest of the Algarve from the Moors. The armillary sphere celebrates the navigators who opened sea routes to Africa, Asia, and the Americas. The sailor's knot above the arms is a quiet, almost poetic reminder that Portugal's story has always been tied to the sea. On the reverse, the flower-like ornament feels contemporary, less heraldic, more decorative, almost like a piece of traditional Portuguese tile work or embroidery translated into metal. Together, the two sides balance history and modernity. That balance was the whole point of the 1986 series. For American audiences, the coin offers a familiar parallel. Think of the way the United States redesigned its coinage in the mid-20th century or later. With state quarters and presidential dollars, moments when a nation used everyday money to tell a refreshed story about itself. Portugal was doing the same thing in 1986-88. After years of isolation and internal struggle, it was presenting a new face to Europe and the world. Democratic, European-facing, yet still unmistakably Portuguese. The metal itself tells a practical story. Nickel brass, roughly 79% copper, 20% zinc, 1% nickel, gave the coin its golden color and durability. At 23.5 millimeters in diameter and about 7.5 grams, it was substantial enough to feel valuable yet convenient to carry. The reeded edge helped. The visually impaired distinguish it by touch, another thoughtful feature of the series. Earlier, Portuguese coins had sometimes been criticized for poor quality or awkward size. This one was praised for its elegance and solid appearance. By 1988, the new coins were already circulating widely. Portugal was settling into its European membership. Tourism was growing. The economy was beginning to stabilize. Everyday transactions still happened in Escudos, and the 10 Escudo piece was a common workhorse. It would remain in production with varying mintages until 2001. Then, on 28th of February 2002, the Escudo was withdrawn as Portugal fully adopted the euro. The physical coins could still be exchanged for a limited time, but the currency itself became history. Today, a 1988 10 Escudos in ordinary circulated condition is inexpensive, often less than $1 or $2 to American collectors. Uncirculated examples or pieces from original mint sets command a bit more, yet the real value is not monetary. It is the story the coin carries, a small republic that survived empire, dictatorship, and revolution, then stepped confidently into a shared European future while refusing to erase the symbols that made it unique. Hold the coin again in your mind's eye. On one side, the ancient arms and the sailor's knot. On the other, a modern floral geometry and the clear declaration of value. Between them lies the quiet drama of a nation choosing what to keep and what to renew. Helder Batista and the Lisbon Mint gave that choice physical form. The year 1988 simply marked one ordinary, hopeful year in that longer journey. For collectors in the United States, the coin is an accessible entry into Portuguese numismatics and a tangible link to the broader story of late 20th century Europe. It costs almost nothing to own, yet it rewards a closer look with centuries of history, a revolution, an economic rebirth, and the quiet optimism of a country that had decided its best days still lay ahead. International market value. Small dye varieties in the lettering style, ornament details, or the H. Batista ENCM signature, early versus later dyes. These are noted by specialists, e.g., on Numista, but add little to no extra value, usually just a few cents to $1 at most for advanced variety collectors. Significant errors such as major double dyes, off-center strikes, broad strikes, wrong planche, wrong metal. Dramatic clips or lamination errors are extremely rare on this series and almost never appear in the market with confirmed high prices. If a dramatic error did surface and was authenticated, it could sell for $2 million plus depending on eye appeal. Average eBay, dealer sold prices for ordinary UNC examples usually fall between $1,000 and $25,000. Bulk lots of circulated pieces often sell for under $2,000 each. Catalogs, Numista, Foronum, Silver Age coins, etc. list the 1988 date in the same low range as most other years of the type.